absolutely don't feel safe. I have anxiety attacks, and it's just crazy.
So during this COVID-19 pandemic, we're all supposed to be social distancing, right? But I got a tip with this photo. That bus is packed. This looks like it could be putting people's health at risk. The bus driver who sent me this works for Hillsborough Area Regional Transit, known as HART. It's the biggest public bus service in Tampa Bay, and at least one HART employee has already tested positive for COVID-19, although HART didn't notify the public about that until after we broke the story. According to the union, that person is a bus driver. If you're a student, you might be affected by this because HART is giving out free rides right now for students to pick up free breakfast and lunch while school's out during the pandemic. So let's dig into why this bus is so crowded and whether more could be done to prevent it. Let's see what's brewing. Hi, I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter at 10 News in Tampa Bay. So the bus driver who sent me that picture tells me the problem is HART switched from running its busiest routes every 15 minutes to running them every hour. HART says that's because of closures along routes, reduced demand for service, and in support of Hillsborough County's Safer at Home order. But since then, that driver says the buses have been packed, and that makes total sense. Even if there are fewer riders overall, fewer buses means fewer opportunities to ride. So if you're running late for work, you're not going to want to wait another hour for the next bus just because this one is crowded. So let's talk to the driver who sent this to me, Vera Johnson. Normally I would do this interview in person. In fact, I have interviewed her in person in the past. But thanks to social distancing, I now try to do most of my interviews over video chat instead. You can't hear me? But her signal was bad, so we talked on the phone.
I absolutely don't feel safe. My anxiety is high because I'm at a higher age. I have grandbabies. I can't hug them because I feel like I'm out there in the front line. We all are. All them bus operators.
I talked to another HART driver who didn't want me to share her name because she was worried about getting in trouble at work. She tells me she was in daily contact with the HART driver who got COVID-19. Now she's feeling sick. She's waiting on her own test results while isolating from her husband and kids.
And I've just been sitting here waiting on it. I have anxiety attacks, and it's just crazy.
According to the two biggest transit workers unions, more than 20 transit workers have already died from COVID-19, and hundreds more have tested positive. It's not just drivers who are worried, riders are too. Just take a look at the comments on HART's Facebook page. This one says, "You have turned riding the bus into a dangerous situation with this new schedule. We were unable to social distance and there were 2 to a seat in some cases." And this comment, "My bus went from 6 people to about 20. It felt very unsafe." I wanted to know how a comparable transit authority was handling this. I checked with Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, or PSTA. Pinellas is a neighboring county, and both PSTA and HART have about 12 million bus riders a year, so it feels like a fair comparison. Turns out, PSTA has been allowing its drivers to limit the number of riders on its buses to 10 people since March 21st. So I called HART Board Chair Les Miller about whether HART plans to start limiting its buses to 10 people.
Well, I'm just saying what I heard, what staff told me, that they got a call from someone at PST saying that they were having more confrontation with drivers because of what they're doing.
And 10 Investigates already reported a couple months ago that HART saw a 220% increase in attacks on drivers last year. So you can understand why the idea of more conflict would be concerning. Important to note, PSTA disagrees that the 10-person limit is causing more conflict. Days after this photo was reportedly taken, HART started putting these laminated signs in chairs, telling riders to use staggered seating and maintain distance between others. Do you think those signs are going to be a successful strategy for getting people to socially distance if they weren't before?
I think we have to take this step and see if it is effective. If it's not effective, we'll have to take further steps.
HART spokesperson also tells us they've got buses staggered around the county to help relieve routes that get overcrowded. So a couple days after those phone calls, the local bus drivers union sent me this picture, another crowded bus. And you can see some of those laminated signs HART put on the seats. Doesn't look like they're working to me. The union tells me the driver of that bus tried to call dispatch for relief, but they were told to keep driving. So I emailed that picture to HART with a bunch of questions, but their spokesperson pretty much just rehashed what we've already talked about. I appreciate you responding to my email, but you didn't really answer any of the questions that I sent you, so I wanted to just follow up. That actually worked. Hart's spokesperson got back to me saying, at times there may be an instance where operations control will tell a bus operator to keep going. That is only due to the fact that for a variety of factors, a plug bus may not be available. Hart's first commitment is taking people where they want to go, when they want to go, and to not leave customers stranded. So we've heard multiple sides of this issue. We're going to keep checking in with Hart bus drivers to see if things are getting better and what else needs to change. Thank you for your contribution, Mocha. Okay, all right, bail. Stick around for more homemade deep dives on COVID-19 from What's Brewing. Subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you next week.